Everybody's quiet. Y'all not awake yet either?
No.
No. All right. Well, good. We're all the same. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
All right. Here we go. Middle. Okay. How is everybody?
Great.
Good.
Yeah. You good? Who all went to rallies?
Soon.
Any of you?
Next week.
Yeah. Oh, next week. Where is the one next week? Or where the ones
In
next
Dallas. I remember the
Dallas.
one in
week?
Dallas.
Oh, yeah. Dallas. That's like one of the longer ones. I think.
Will I see you, Brian?
Yeah, you'll see me.
Okay, I'll see you there.
Yes, ma'am.
Get some tribe pictures, like some family pictures. I
Good.
got to meet, here he is, I got to meet Mark and Mark, where were we? That was Philadelphia.
Yeah, we're outside of Philadelphia. I was so nervous. I've seen you so much. I'm like, I usually don't get nervous. I was like, I had a bunch of things I wanted to say. I forgot what I wanted to say though.
You were nervous?
Not a little bit.
Oh, you're so funny. Oh my gosh, that was so fun, right? And you got to meet some pretty amazing people, and it's just fun to hear all the names and bring everybody together. You don't need to be nervous. We're all family.
It really, thanks for that. No, it was really great. And thanks for all the introductions.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Frank's going to be able to help with some of the people out there. He's an awesome guy. So,
we had a great rally here in Atlanta yesterday.
Oh my gosh, I about fell over when Brad Feynman sent me a video. And I was like, there is no way you were there. And I love that he was there.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, no, it was great. They had some great speakers, really great speakers. Really liked Nolly.
Oh, Nolly Williams. Yeah, he's fun, isn't he?
Yeah, Levi was
Yeah, so
talking
even
about
that, so you have
they use YouTube.
Did he talk about, oh my
YouTube.
gosh, he's so funny. Oh, he talked about YouTube?
Yeah, Levi.
Okay, he's one of the funniest people when he talks about like rev share or growing or attraction or growing your downline.
Yeah.
And he talks about how Jesus had the biggest downline and it only started with 12.
That's great. That's amazing.
I know. I was like, you got a point there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really funny. So
Well, I like that, he started with the YouTube. He says he did one deal and he retired. Now everything's coming through his team. Through
yeah,
all the YouTube leads.
isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting to see how different they all were and the diversity of speakers. We had, where was I first? Oh, first we were in Detroit, and I mean, I'd never been to Detroit, Philadelphia, or Toronto. And so it was really cool just to see the diversity in the cities, first of all, but then the speakers that they brought in from everywhere and the people in Canada, y'all, man, it's on fire. They are so excited. Canada's like where EXP was early on. So it was interesting to see, I could share hindsight, kind of the struggles and the challenges and just kind of putting the tracks in front of the train, right? As fast as we were going early on. And so Canada's, there's a huge opportunity there. So it was fun. But I was supposed to be in New York today. But my oldest is a senior in high school and his football team made playoffs. So I did what any good mama would do, and I changed my flight and I came home. So I got home at midnight. Or I got home at 1 a.m. So yeah, so pretty soon we're gonna get in the car, drive 3.5 hours in the cold and rain to Sugar Land, Texas. The team they're playing, y'all, they're big. So we'll see how that goes. And then we're gonna drive all the way back and get home probably about 2 or 3 in the morning, and then turn around and go to College Station for the A&M game tomorrow night. So
who are they playing, Elizabeth?
Who A&M or the boys?
No, your child.
Sugarland, something.
Yeah.
Hold please, I'll tell you. Are you from Sugarland?
No, but our kids play. Lake Travis played, Houston, so kind of familiar with some of those teams.
Oh yeah, so ours are private, so it's probably we're a little different. We are playing.
They grow up big in Sugarland, though.
Oh my gosh, the one that my son's O-line, and we'll get on topic in a minute. I'm sorry. My kid's O-line. He's 6'1".
Yep.
Brad Feynman met him when he was when I was pregnant, by the way, when he was a brand spanking new little tiny thing. But he's now 6'1", 220 pounds, O-line. And the kid he's against or on the O-line that they're up against, like, dwarfs him. And he's a sophomore in high school and evidently has 12 D1 offers already. So
Wow.
it'll be brutal, but we're going to be there cheering him on to the very
Right.
brutal end. So anyway,
What school does your son represent?
Hyde Park in Austin.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. So, but it's a brutal day. I am so excited to see you guys. I'm fired up. I'm really glad that y'all that made it to the different rallies were able to go. Those that didn't, they're gonna start doing those more like twice a year. So I think the next one will be May. But there's also gonna be other events that we're all putting together around for the next couple months. I know in Austin we're gonna be putting one on. I think December 13th. So y'all close to Austin, come in for that. Phil Stringer, who we've met before, who does AI, he's going to come in and do just like an all-day in-depth deep dive into AI. So we'll stream that, we'll record it for all of y'all that aren't able to make it. But today I'm super excited because we're at like 50 something days to the end of the year. Did y'all realize that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right around the corner. So we really need to start planning for 2024. Not really. I mean, the end of the year is here. There's not a whole lot we can change. And so we're going to bring in Christy. I think she's here. I love seeing all the others. There she is. Good morning. Christy's a rock star, y'all, in Oklahoma. She was with KW for a long time, coacher, trainer. She's going to talk about our business planning. Christy, I'm sorry, I don't have everything in front of me right now, but I got to meet her through Tomas and Chris a while ago. She joined us, and y'all, the caliber of agents and the quality of just experience and training is off the charts. So Christy is going to work with us today on business planning. And Christy, I'm going to share my screen. Not share my screen. I'm going to give you sharing capabilities. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to let you take it from here. So Christy, thank you for jumping in and being a part of Morning Huddle. And we're excited to hear from you.
All right. Hi, guys. Good morning from
Good
Oklahoma.
morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit. I am new to EXP. I am new to this group. I've been in real estate 20 years. And during that time, I had one of the most successful teams in the Oklahoma or the Tulsa region. Last year, we did, well, not last year, 2022 was the last year that I was in production, and we did 65 million. I normally had about 15 agents on my team, and half that time I was usually also managing a sales team for some of the larger builders here in town too. So for me, when I look at business planning, this is always the time of the year that I do it. You know, I know that, and you guys know that everything that we do now today is going to be paying off 60, 90 days from now, right? So if we get a start on this today, if we get a start on this now, we're already going to be ahead of ourselves starting in January. While all the other agents are trying to catch up and get going, you're already going to have a plan and you're going to be working that plan, right? So let me share my screen. Okay, so everybody here familiar with SMART goals? Okay, so I've got a little bit of a twist on SMART goals. Who here has actually done SMART goals? Raise your hand. Okay, so here we go. Trying to figure out how to do this. Hold on. How has been your success with actually running SMART goals in a traditional sense? Can everybody see that?
Yep.
That screen share? Okay. So some of the issues that I've had in the past with SMART goals, it's like, where do you start? Can everybody see my screen? I just want to make sure. I can't necessarily see it. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So essentially, when we look at the SMART goals, the traditional look on it is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I'm a little bit more specific, so I switched this up a little bit. SMART for me means strategies, milestones, actions, resources, and timing, right? So essentially, we're going to flip it a little bit. And when we look at it this way, I'm just going to go over this real quick to give everybody an update. What exactly do you want to achieve? So the main thing is the goal. So we're going to do we're going to go over one today, and I put that together with the goal in mind of 40 transactions. In the Tulsa market, that's going to give you icon status. 40 transactions, totally doable. So essentially, how would I do that? How would I get to 40 transactions? I'm going to run a SWOT analysis. Who here is familiar with the SWOT analysis? Strengths, weaknesses, threats, that type of thing. So essentially, I'm going to look at what's going on. I'm going to take a look at my business for the year. I'm going to figure out, where am I weak? Where do I need to improve? Where am I strong? Where am I really good at? Maybe I'm good at open houses. Maybe at open houses, I know I can get 1 to 2 leads that are really strong and convert them. But maybe I'm really bad at phone conversations, and that's a weakness that I've got to look at. So essentially, I'm basically looking at all the different threats, my weaknesses, my strengths, all those things, okay? What strengths can I leverage? What strengths can I leverage to get me to my goal? If I did, say, 26 transactions this year and I want to get to 40, where can I leverage my strengths to take me from 26 to 40, right? And then areas of weakness. Guys, we all got them. We wear a lot of hats in this industry. Maybe I'm not good at transaction management. Maybe I'm not good at lead generation. Figure out what your strength or your weaknesses are and figure out a plan to offset those weaknesses. We're all going to have them. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. It's not going to go in there. We're not going to go in there and say, okay, guys, let's change everything. I've got to lean in on this, when you can leverage that out to somebody else and lean in on your strengths and actually get to where you're going faster. Okay, so milestones. What priorities do I need to achieve the goal? So essentially, these priorities, these milestones should support your main goal, should support your strategies. So essentially, where are my KPIs? This is easy. And if you're only doing 40 or under transactions, our KPI should be easy to measure. We're not talking about hundreds of closings. We're not talking about thousands of leads, things like that. So essentially, what are your KPIs? And look at that. If it takes you maybe 4 open houses to close a deal, okay, well, do I need to do 4 open houses in a weekend? How can I make that happen? Do I back-to-back them? Things like this, right? So take a look at your KPIs. How will you know that the goal is achieved? So for example, maybe you need to do a specific training course. Well, that's easy. Once it's done, that's achieved. But you got to figure out, what does that mean as far as getting that achieved? Action. This is the big one, right? So how are we actually going to take these milestones, these goals, these strategies, and put it into action? And this is where you're going to put key things into play on how you're going to do that. And basically, it's a to-do list. That's the way I look at the action side of it. Resources. This is huge. What are the resources available to me to help me achieve my goals? What do I have at EXP that I can lean into? What about YouTube training videos? What about my network, my mentor, things like that? What are the resources that you already have? And then what resources do you actually need to reach that maybe you don't have, and identify what those are? And then timing. So we got to figure this out. Our timing, we've got to lean into that. And then we've got to get it into the calendar, because how you really make these strategies or the SMART goals work is you're going to look at this, you're going to print it out every week, right? You're going to print it out and you're going to keep it up. And every week you're going to look at it and think, okay, what do I need to do this week to hit these goals? I'm not going to do all the things on my list, because maybe there's a lot of action plans, but maybe I'm going to focus on FSBO stuff this week, or maybe I'm going to focus on expired stuff, whatever it happens to be. Okay, so let's move on. I've got a little one put together. Now, if we did it this way, the SMART goals are basically straight down like this, right? So essentially 27 transactions, 9 million in sales, or 221K in GCI. Those are broken down by, a KPI. This is a fictional KPI. So I'm going to make this easy for you guys, because if you look at this, this can be hard to follow, right? How do I actually follow these action plans and these milestones and get to where I need to go? So we're going to flip it a little bit. And we're going to flip it to where essentially you're going to take your strategies and you're going to go straight across, right? So for example, on this one here, and this is just random stuff, guys, lead generation. So for example, lead generation, I need to get 120 new contacts into KV Core. That's 40 a month, right? For a 3-month plan, and then I'm going to follow Robin Mann's social media plan that she presented last week. And I'm going to make sure I get those 3 things out a day, those types of things. I'm going to go straight across. So action, time block. How am I going to do that? How am I going to get these things done? Right. I'm going to time block 30 minutes a day, and I'm going to add these things to KV Core. I'm going to post my TikTok 3 times a day, and I'm going to do a motivational post on that. And then the resources. So the number one thing is, again, Google Calendar, or whatever calendar you use. You're literally going to time block in there 15, whatever, social media, put it in there at a certain time. Make sure it's alerting you. This is going to train you to make sure you're doing these action plans, right? And it does take the work, guys, to plan this out every week and kind of lean into that. Google Contacts. If I'm going to be adding 40 people into KV Core every week, where am I going to find these people? How am I going to locate these people? Who do I need to be talking to so that I'm actually reaching that goal? Old CRM leads. How many times have we gone to an open house or an event and we had a bunch of people sign up? And then we take that list and we just, set it to the side and kind of forget about it. Go back, grab those papers, get those loose contacts and get them into KV Core so that you can start marketing them on a regular basis. And then maybe I'm going to reach out to Robin Ann and talk to her more about, that social media plan that she works, and kind of get some ideas and pick her brain a little bit. And then from there, timing. So what am I going to do? Fridays, I'm going to do 1 hour time block in my Google Calendar for my SMART goal actions. And Tuesdays, town halls, I'm basically going to double duty that. Here in Oklahoma, we have our town halls on Tuesdays, which will run for about an hour. Maybe at that time I'm in the town hall, but I'm also entering my contacts into KV Core. How am I double dutying some of this time so that I'm not wasting it? Does that make sense? Does everybody have any questions on that? Let's talk about some of your goals, guys. Somebody talk to me about a goal that you're trying to achieve in this coming year, and that we can walk through this and kind of figure out a plan of action for that. Anybody? Oh, shoot. No. Did I go away? There we
No,
go.
you're there.
Sorry.
Y'all on mute. What questions?
Who would like to volunteer?
Well,
I can follow. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I am a brand new agent.
Okay.
And my biggest goal is to get my first listing.
Perfect. All right. So, first listing. So we're going to talk about lead generation, right? So when you're talking about your first listing, what are some of the things that comes to mind that you've already thought about as far as how you're going to do that?
I need to start with the MLS orientation, which is tomorrow.
Okay. So that'll be a milestone, yeah. So you can do the MLS orientation, get familiar with that.
My husband and I also own a residential construction company, and we have a house that if we get a break in the rain, we're going to keep working on and hopefully have it listed by before the end of November. If not, then it's going to have to push to the December timeframe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's see. I'm sitting an open house on Sunday.
Perfect. Okay. So essentially, so we've got some things here. So you never done a listing before, right? This will be your first one.
Right.
So one of the milestones may be to run a sample listing before you run your first one.
Okay.
You'll make it live, right? You're going to try that out and make sure you're getting familiar so that way when you start to actually put in the business, you're able to run it smoothly and not learn while you're just working with your client.
Well, if it happens to be my own as the
okay, even
listing,
better.
then
Even better. Okay, so yeah, so essentially you're going to use that as an opportunity to learn the whole process, right?
yes.
Okay, so essentially, and then you also are having an open house this weekend. So let's
I'm
talk
sitting
about
someone
that.
else's, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So some of the actions that you can do on that, marketing that. So what are some of the things that you can do to market the open house as far as action points?
I've already printed out the MLS listing of that property so that I have some reference information to be able to talk to anybody that shows up.
Perfect.
I Build a Sign is late with getting their cards to me, so I ended up having to go I got the proofs from Build a Sign, and I'm picking new my first batch of cards up this morning.
Perfect.
Um,
Perfect.
so, and then tomorrow I'm going to pick up something that Megan has. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's like a sign-in little booklet where you get a card. You have everybody that comes through fill out a lead card,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
make sure that I have everybody sign in when I come in.
Perfect. Okay. Let's talk about prepping you for talking with these guys, right? Because you're newer to the industry and newer to the market. So one of the things that I would suggest is going out and previewing all the homes in the neighborhood before your open house.
Doing what?
Go out and preview the homes that are for sale in the neighborhood before your open house.
One of the things that I noticed is that this particular property has been on the market for 105 days as of when I printed it out a couple days ago. They've dropped the price and then given $10,000 in concessions. Plus there's a $2,000 bonus to whoever brings a buyer if they bring it before a certain date. And to me, that leads to the conversation that these owner and it's vacant. So that brings me to a conversation that these owners seem to be highly motivated to sell. So if you're interested and aren't already represented by an agent, I would love to help you put in an offer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But one of the things you want to do is you want to make sure that you're more familiar than your buyers coming through the door, and hopefully you'll have some sellers in the neighborhood come into the door as well. And you want to be familiar with the homes there in the neighborhood. So going and previewing them ahead of time puts you in a position to have conversations. So now not only are you talking about the home that you're in, you're also going to be able to say, oh yeah, this house ABC down the street, it has this, that, and the other. This may be a better match, or what, you're going to be able to talk the language of it. So getting out there and looking at those homes ahead of time basically gives you that edge, not just with the buyers, but potential listing opportunities that are going to come from your open house as well.
Okay, cool.
And then I would also go a step further, and I call it it's called like Vision 2020. So when I'm doing an open house, who's going to see the sign, right? Who's looking at the sign? It's basically the 10 neighbors on each side and 20 neighbors across the street. So I'm going to go door knock on those guys, leave them the flyer, and just say, hey, come visit us. Come take a look. I'll have some information on the neighborhood that you're printing out already, and essentially invite them to the open house. And then make sure you get those contacts, so that contact list, and get those guys into your database as well, so that you can follow up with them later. If they're not buying or selling now, they will at some point in the future. So start using that as your business building opportunity. Can you sell that house? Hopefully you can. If not, can you pick up a client? If not, can you add some leads into your database, right? So there's some opportunities there that go just beyond a buyer buying that particular house.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So essentially, like, you're going to take your strategy of open house, you're going to put some milestones on there, right? The milestones of printing off the stuff, maybe getting familiar with the neighborhood, things like that. And then the action plans are, I'm going to go and I'm going to tour that neighborhood. I'm going to invite the neighbors, things like that, so that you can potentially get some more people through that door as well. When I do an open house, I'm always looking at not just buyers, I'm really looking for other sellers in the neighborhood. I really want another listing in that neighborhood. And think of it as a mini farm, right? This opportunity that you have with this open house is essentially the ability to get another listing in that neighborhood. And then once you do that, you do the same process again, and hopefully you can get another listing in that neighborhood. It doesn't always work, but a lot of times you can really put a dent in the market share of a particular neighborhood if you really strategically plan it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then resources. So what resources do you need? You know, you've already spoken to the agent. You've already talked to them about the home. You're already looking at the MLS for the information on the area. What other resources do you think you might be able to use for the open house?
Oh, excuse me. I don't have my open house signs yet. So I am borrowing from Megan, who brought me in.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So if you don't have it, and you know, it's expensive getting started too, lean into the people in the network and in the groups and see if they can't help you out. Be willing to help out. That's perfect. And then the timing on it. So when you want to do these things, right? So it's real easy to say, I'm going to go door knock and I'm going to go preview these homes, but getting it into your calendar is what's really going to separate the wheat from the chaff as far as what we're going to get done and what we're going to think about getting done. So take those things and actually make it an action item into your calendar, regardless if it's Google Calendar or paper calendar, whatever works for you guys, right? Or a combination of both, whatnot. But it's that essentially now you've got it in there. It's not, I'm going to go do this on Friday. I'm going to do this on Friday at noon. And then somebody's going to call you and they're going to say, hey, let's go to lunch. Well, I can't because I already have this appointment, but you know, I can meet you for, you know, lunch next week or something like that. But essentially, if we've got it in our calendar, we have more accountability to achieve that goal, to actually do those things. And then we're moving those SMART goals actually forward. We're actually achieving them now, not just kind of having it on paper and hoping it works out. The key, guys, is really getting it into your calendar, those action items.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anybody else have some goals that they're thinking about for next year that they'd like some help on? No? Okay. So let's move on. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So my goal is to work more with investors and add to my group of investors. So attracting those types so that I don't have to go searching as much for clients. I already have those investors and working their deals.
Something that's going to give you some repeat business. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
So do you work with investors now? How much of your business is working with investors?
Right now, I'm probably 20% with investors.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. So what are your thoughts on some of the strategies, or not the strategy is investors. What are some of the milestones and actions that you're thinking that you're going to be wanting to take?
So one thing I've been working on, I've got I'll just give you the particulars of what I'm actually trying to get started on. I had a friend of mine that's he's on the GP side of the GP LP, and so he's also an investor. So I have investors on the other side over here that are LP. So I was talking to this GP, and he had just finished up restoring some office space, 20,000 square feet, filled it up. And I said, hey, congratulations. That's pretty awesome, because he filled it up he was leased up within a month and a half. So he said, appreciate it. I could use 20,000 more. I could fill that up too. So I said, I just kind of in my head said, good to know, because we were just having a general conversation about what was going on in our lives at the time. So I went back to some of my investor group that's on the LP side, and I just mentioned to them that I had heard an offhanded comment that this investor could fill up 20,000 more square feet. Would that be something they were interested in? And they said, sure, if we can fill it up in that quick time frame, we'd take a look at that. So now the strategy I'm trying to put together is I want to make it a win for the GP. I want to make it a win for the LP. And I also want to make it a win for myself too. As far as, I don't want to just bring the two together and work the deal with them. I want to get some residuals off the deal. So maybe obviously, well, and I could, for the win for me would be on the LP side, I can not donate. I can invest part of my money in on their side. On the GP side, this guy is really great at the GP side, so I want to learn some of that from him as well. So
So you've got
because
some opportunity to do investment with them as well.
right. And I just,
Okay.
that way I can grow my GP side, my GP skills, my LP side, and I can just then be investing myself within the next few years.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going to go back to some of that. So one of the things that you may want to consider is, you know, time blocking or action of do you check the MLS daily for investment opportunities?
Not daily. I'm a dual career kind of person, so I don't necessarily get to focus daily. I do try to put in at least an hour every day, and
Sure.
so I spend that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be hours, right? If you're spending 30 minutes even, you know,
Right.
make sure you're getting it in there on time blocking. Maybe set yourself up on some email alerts through the MLS to where you're automatically just getting stuff if it's under a certain, you know, price per square foot or in a certain area, just so that you don't have to dig as much, that it's coming to you, it's automated a little bit.
Okay.
But essentially, like, yeah, it's just kind of you're taking it bit by bit. If you're just spending an hour or 30 minutes a day, you know, 3-4 times a week, you know, you're going to be more knowledgeable on that. You're going to be able to say, oh, shoot, that may match this particular client. I need to reach out to them. So now you're going to be able to have more conversations with that, right?
Right.
Maybe one of the approaches is, hey guys, you're going to call them. Pick everybody on your list, get them on your list, make sure they're in KV Core, right? So that you can do some email follow-up as well. But get them on your list and say, hey, you know what? I'm getting ready to do some big things in 2024. And I'd just like to meet with you and talk about what your plans are, so that when I'm out here and I'm working things, I can make sure that I'm looking out for what you're looking for and helping you reach that goal, right? And get in front of, maybe you're going to get in front of 2 people a week that's in your group.
Okay.
Or whatever works for your schedule. But essentially, you're creating those relationships, you're opening the doors, you're helping them achieve their goals, and you're moving that business forward. So you're leaning into it chunk by chunk with these milestones and action plans, right?
Right. And the problem I'm having, I guess the challenge I'm having is, you know, you mentioned getting in front of them twice a week, and that would be awesome. But these guys have schedules they're just everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's more of I kind of put out there at the beginning of the week, hey, when you like to get together with you within the next couple of weeks, what's your schedule look like? And then typically I get something back, and then we can narrow it down to a day and a time pretty quickly. But yeah.
So maybe some of that is just doing some reach outs so that you're getting a couple of things scheduled to where, and then the next thing is I'm going to have, you know, whatever is comfortable for you, 2 appointments a week or something like that. Work towards that, but do those steps to get those. But a lot of times we get lost in these little things that are kind of like, we have these idea of a goal, right? But we don't, it's like, where do we start? What's the roadmap for it? Well, I know I need to do A, B, and C, but then breaking it down right? Getting that into the schedule.
Right.
And then what are some of the resources essentially that you would have in this goal of working with investors and getting more into that world and turning more of your market share into that?
Mm-hmm. And I've been working I'm kind of old school. I just like to put together a very written down business plan. Here's how I'm getting there. Here's how I'm paying for it, all that stuff. And so I'm working on that. And also I've been working through revising my value proposition with regard to heading more towards that goal versus just getting some clients. I want to get some investors. So revising that to reflect more on my skills as a GP and how the projects that I've run in the past and that kind of thing.
What about organizations or groups that have investors? I know we've got them here in Tulsa and Oklahoma, to where they networking events, things like that, to where you can even expand that network that you have.
Right. There's one there's a couple on Facebook that I got into, and I can't think of the names right off the top of my head. And then there's a couple of mastermind groups that I've gotten into, investor masterminds, and just that's where I'm trying to network deeper into that. Like I've got those investors that I have already, and now I'm trying to, through them, meet more of their people, because that's the crowd they run in. So I try to go spend some time with them as often as I can and ask for introductions to the rest of their group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you big on social media? What kind of things do you do? Are you in on any of that?
I'm growing that. I'm not, so I'm kind of getting used to that. I've been, like kind of planning out, if I were to do a vlog or if I were to do a YouTube channel, what would that look like? And so I write down, and I had, come up with, like some different, what would I do each week? Like, what would I highlight each week? And so, so I may, just thinking about, I'm glad you asked that question, because now as I go through those weeks, maybe add like an investor's corner or something.
Absolutely.
One of those weeks.
One easy thing to do, Glenn, would be to, look at the MLS and then just find the lowest cost home or investment property that's sold, and just do like a quick video on that, like once a week or something, or once a month.
Okay.
Because that's something that's repeatable that you don't have to necessarily do, because it's going to sell no matter what. It's already going to be there. You know what I mean? You're just basically taking the data and telling people what's going on in the market. And then in their minds, what's going to happen is Glenn's the expert on investment properties. He's always talking about investment properties. I got a question, I need to go talk to him. But it does start slowly.
And that's what I was a mechanical engineer for 25 years, worked in the corporate with that. And then right now my dual career is engineering teacher, high school engineering teacher. So I try to highlight that in my value proposition. Hey, and try to educate, I'm here to not only help you through, but also educate you in the process and that kind of thing. Yeah. So I can expand that. I can extend that. I like what you just said, because I can extend that to that. Yeah. I'm the guy for knowing about investment properties.
Absolutely. And then the main thing is, Glenn, right, is just get that new calendar. Like, I'm going to make this video. I'm going to have it done by X a day. You know what I mean? And don't worry about the first couple. Maybe the first one you don't post because you don't like it, and that's okay. Right. But, just start doing it, and then, get out there and post it, but make it consistent. And that's going to be the key to that.
I do use I do use the Google Calendar, and I have the alerts coming in, but I don't know why, but I found that just like if I write this stuff on a whiteboard, I've got my whiteboard is separated Sunday through Saturday. And when I write it on there, I look at that every morning, and it really bugs me when I get up and something's not gone. So
everybody works different, right? So if the Google Calendar doesn't work for you guys, and you're a paper calendar person, do that, because it's about what works for you, not necessarily trying to conform what works for your brain for what works for somebody else.
And that was a mistake I used to make, is I was trying to imitate what other people were doing, and some of that stuff worked and some of that didn't work. So so now mainly the Google Calendar is used between my partner and I, so that we can know what each of us is working on, how we can highlight. If I'm busy doing something, she'll jump in and complete it, that kind of thing. And then, but that whiteboard is really, I don't know, that's something psychological about wiping things off.
Now we're accountable to ourselves, right? I said I'm going to do this, and unless it's up here, like I want to, then it's I want. Once we get it on the calendar, it's I'm doing this. And then there's accountability. If you don't do it, you're looking at it and you're telling yourself, man, I was going to spend my time on that and I didn't. And then that gives you the opportunity, honestly, to take it, scratch it off that day on the whiteboard and move it to a different day and a different time, but make sure it still gets done.
Right. I do like that about that board too.
See, Glenn, I think there's some coaching opportunities and some amazing people there that can certainly help.
I
right?
appreciate it.
So that I
Yeah,
love.
that's one thing I've found since I've come on to EXP. There is no, everybody is just trying to help. There's no limit to how much people are trying to help. So that's made a huge difference over the last several months.
Love it. Yeah, we all win when everybody wins together.
Mhm.
I know we don't have a whole bunch of time left, so I want Christy to make sure that she can get through everything and then open it up for other questions too.
That's basically the main thing, guys, is when you're looking at your SMART goals, think of it this way. What is the strategy? Figure out what your goal is. Your goal should be simple. This SMART goal here, what we're doing, this is not including like, I'm going to work out. I'm going to, read more of my Bible, whatever. Those are amazing things. This is our business, and this is what drives our finances for our families and things like that. So when we're doing this is what we're focusing on. You can do another SMART goal system for your personal life as well. So this right here is getting us from point A to point B financially. Did we hit our goals this year? If not, where was the gap, right? If I did, that's fantastic. Where do I want to go next year? But essentially evaluate that. Now I know what those are. I need to hit X amount of transactions or X amount of sales. What does that look like for you in your market? Break that down. Break down what your average commission is so that you can actually run your numbers based on that. Is it 3%? Is it 2.5? Is it 3.3? Whatever it is, it's different for everybody, right? Get those down, figure out what your strategies are. I'm going to hit 27 or whatever it is sales this year by doing A, B, and C. Do not lean in heavily on your strategies. You should not have 14 strategies. You should have like 3 to 4. It's like a bar stool, right? You're sitting on it. And this, 4 is really all the legs you need. You don't need more than that. What are your main strategies? And then from there, what are those milestones that I need to do? Action plans, resources that I already have available, and reach out. There's other people that have these things in our group, in the industry in general. Maybe they're not even with EXP. Maybe they're with, a coaching program, like Elizabeth was saying. And then timing. This is the main key, because this is where most of us fail when it comes to our business planning, is that we do these things and it can look like all different types of business planning things that we've gone through over the years, right? And then we set this bad boy down and we forget about it. And then we hope at the end of the year that we've achieved these things. But getting it into your calendar and time blocking it and making it an accountability action for ourselves is what moves that ball forward every day. That's basically
Well,
it,
and
guys.
you just mentioned it too, Christy. You mentioned accountability. I mean, this is great and goals are great, but if you're not doing anything with them, it's not going anywhere, right? And this group is
Yeah.
amazing because there's so many people, not only in this group, but within this company, where you guys can all be similar if you want and be accountability partners, or find somebody that's different than you and be accountability partners, and you can push each other in different ways. But accountability is key, and none of us succeed alone. So if you're looking for that push, okay, I really want to be focused in 2024. I really want to accomplish all these things. Then find other people that are doing the same thing and saying, hey, what do you think about being accountability? The fact that you guys show up every Friday, that's accountability, right? I mean, that's huge here, but go a little bit deeper and see what you can do to really make 2024 off the charts for each of you. Who has some questions or shares or wins or anything they want to share today? We still have about 15 minutes left.
Christy, I'm just going to comment. I've always struggled with really kind of like breaking down what I do in a format that's teachable for others. So, I've always struggled with bringing people on a team because it's kind of hard for me to guide them. I just, so I just add a comment. I think I'm gonna use your SMART goals here. Kind of gives me a little structure on how to break it down. 3-4 legs of the stool. It's not 10 different things going in all different directions. So, I just wanted to add that comment.
Thank you. Absolutely. And that's the main thing, because it can get overwhelming if we do that. And I'm going to add to this too, guys, is that as you're going through your year and you got this up, or wherever you're going to put this, right? Because keep this up in front of you. Don't just leave this on your computer. Make sure this is in front of you so that you are looking at it on a regular basis, but update it on a regular basis, right? Some things may change. You may come into the year and thinking, I'm going to work on this area. I'm going to work FSBOs hard and I'm going to make it happen this year, right? And then you start doing it and you realize something else is pulling you in a much more lucrative direction. or FSBOs are not your jam, whatever it happens to be, it's okay. Pull that off, fill it with something else. You know what I mean? And if you've accomplished certain things, pull them off and put them, so use this as a living document is what I'm saying. Use this as a living planning guide, and don't be afraid to make adjustments on it. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts or ideas?
So I'm going to admit something. This is going to be funny because I've been doing this a long time. I never heard of SMART goals before. I'd never heard of that. And so I love this, how it's laid. I mean, it's similar to a lot of things that I've seen, but when you said, has everybody heard of SMART goals? I'm like, that would be a no. So I like how easy it's laid out and simplified. You know, we don't need to overthink things or get ready, right? Because I think there's a lot of things that complicate in our distractions. And so thank you for sharing this, because we always learn something every day, but is anybody else in that boat that they didn't know about SMART goals, or am I like the only one? Oh, good. I'm not the only one. Y'all are just the ones not admitting it up front.
I like that deck a lot.
Yeah. Chrissy, are you good with us sharing that deck in the tribe?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I sent it to your assistant, so she could send that out.
Cool.
I have it in Canva. If you guys use Canva and want to edit it in Canva, we can do that.
That's
too.
awesome. Yeah, we will do that for sure. I love how we can all build off of that. So Christy, you are amazing. Thank you, friend, for doing this and coming in and sharing and opening up your playbook because you've got so much coaching experience as well. So that's awesome.
Well, absolutely. I'm so glad that you guys had me come today. This was fun.
Yeah, that's what we do, right? Next Friday, we have the one and only Brad Feynman. Super excited. Hey, Brad, it's been fun. I've been on my little world tour and I always talk about you from stage. Brad has been, I don't know if you guys know him yet, Brad and his team, they're all in Atlanta. Brad was my very, very first team leader when I was getting licensed as a brand new baby agent in Atlanta, Georgia. And he is one of the reasons, I still say this to this, I will always say this. He is one of my mentors, I'm one of his biggest fans, and I'm excited that he's here and he's going to be sharing with us next week. And he's with EXP and has so much value. So we're going to talk with Brad next week. And then in the meantime, y'all that go to the rallies next week, take pictures, get excited, talk to people, invite people. We've had so many guests come to these events and they are blown away, right? I think we get a little bit used to the collaboration that we're all experiencing, right? And opening up our books and our just everything, and they don't operate like that. And so I met with so many people that came up and was like, I was a guest, I'm not EXP, I'm joining now. I had no idea. People were explaining or trying to talk about the collaboration. I truly felt it. I truly experienced it. So Orlando's next week. Jeff, you've got a lot of people in Florida. Send them all there. Dallas is next week. There's a ton of people in Texas. Send them there. Just invite your guests. So all right, well, if everybody is good this morning, we will get 10 more minutes back this morning. And
Elizabeth, I just want to say I went ahead and put in the chat the Canva link if anybody wants to use it as an editable document.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I'm going to copy it here and I will put it in our group as well. Copy link. Awesome. This was great, Christy. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Have an awesome weekend, and then we will all reconnect next week. Bye, y'all.